Well, when I hear that bell, I know what time it is.
I know what time it is, and now I ask you, Mr. Craig, Mr. Craig,
Mr. Jason.
who
Guess
do we have? Well, tell me.
I'm going to tell you,
Jeez.
Troy Korsgaden, Power Position, your agency, success strategies.
Ooh, let's do it.
Let's simmer around in that and listen to some books.
Sizzle.
Buckle up, it's the Insurance Dudes Podcast.
Hey, Craig, this year I got some crazy growth goals for my agency, and actually I've been talking to a few other agents. They got some crazy growth goals. So can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing that's just crushing it in your agency right now?
Yeah, well, we're doing a lot of internet data leads through a company called EverQuote, and they're actually one of our sponsors.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, part of the Accelerated Growth Program, which includes having your own consultant that's going to go over your results, and it's positioned to make those leads cost less so that you have lower acquisition costs. It makes it totally doable.
Awesome. And so what has been your favorite parts about it so far?
I like the visibility into the results, and being able to compare what the numbers that they get on their side with the numbers that I get on my side, and seeing that they mesh up. So we know that the data is correct, and that we're actually in a cost per policy or cost per sale that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah,
Cool.
They make it real easy to track. And you know what? Guess what? They gave us a deal to offer to all of the insurance dudes and dudettes out there.
Oh, I got to know about this.
Yeah, all you need to do is go to go.everquote.com/insurance dudes. That's go.everquote.com/insurance dudes.
And they give all the insurance dudes out there a killer price on this. So I'm signing up. Boom! Troy,
The
how
man.
you doing, brother?
Awesome. I'm having a great day. How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Awesome. You got in late last night.
I did. I did,
you're
but I
rocking.
woke up, so that's a good sign for
There we
the
go.
part of the day.
Yeah.
That's the best way to start out the day. I'll be
Yeah.
totally honest.
I like to wake up alive, that's good.
Yeah. Waking up dead is no good.
It ruins my day, It's fun. Yeah.
First question we ask everybody, what was the first concert that you've ever been to? Now, this could be when you were you could have been 10 years old, 8 years old.
Yeah, Edgar Winter and Rick Derringer and Johnny Winter came out and played, and it was awesome. It was life-changing. My first concert was supposed to be Steely Dan, and they didn't come. And my cousin goes, go to Edgar Winter. And I swear it made me, want to learn how to play the guitar. And I did. I taught myself how to play the guitar. It was huge. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Thanks for asking. Yeah. I've seen a lot of great people.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Did you ever go back and see Steely Dan?
No, I never did. Never got the opportunity. I live in the middle of the Central Valley, so there's although the Rolling Stones have been to Fresno, which is 45 minutes from me, and so we've gotten some good stuff, but it's a little harder. You got to drive to LA or San Francisco, which is 3-4 hours each way. So, but I've just had the good fortune of getting to see some of the greats, and just a lot of fun. I love concerts. I love music, so it runs in my family.
That's
Nice.
awesome. As do I.
Great question.
As do I.
Yeah.
I don't get asked that very often in the insurance courtrooms. Yeah.
Right?
What was your first concert, dude?
Yeah. We like to loosen it up a little.
You did. Yeah.
Good.
Insurance agents have fun sometimes, right?
They do. They do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, like most businesses, there's certain people that could brighten up a room by leaving it, if you know what I mean. So, the three of us are going to have fun, even if the other people listening are going, they're whack. Okay.
Right.
Exactly. Well, so for people who may not know you or are living under a rock, why don't you tell us about your background, where you've come from, how you ended up in insurance, and then now the coaching. I mean, it's just a spectacular career.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I lucked out when I first started. I like to kid every time I talk. I was given a big old book of business called The Phone Book by the farmer. And I scratched out an agency right where I'm at in Visalia, California. It's in the middle of the state of California. It was a small town at the time. It's still a small town by California standards. And I was taught to dial for dollars, and I did it. And I'm going to make the story short because it's a long story, but for 7 years I worked by myself. That was the model, if you will, back then. They hired you, you created your own business, but they weren't ad staff. You know, it was all about you being the door knocker and selling insurance. Did okay. And in my 7th year, a light bulb went off and I changed my model, which changed my trajectory, which doubled the size of my book of business. For the first 7 years and 18 months, I doubled. You know, I just after 7 years, just in the next 18 months, I doubled the size of my business, and I've never looked back. I've never had a losing season, and I'm just one of the luckiest guys on earth. And that's catapulted to writing books, consulting to insurance carriers, which I was doing yesterday. I speak to groups all around the United States and North America and even across the pond. Just lucky. I pinch myself every day. So
it's funny how those who hustle are lucky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So take us through that. After the 7 years, the light bulb, take us through the light bulb moment.
Yeah, it was an epiphany. I went into my dentist's office because I'd gotten a call to clean my teeth. And I didn't want to come in because I was working by myself. You know, I had 1,500 accounts. I'm doing all the paperwork. I'm the king of auto, the king of property. I'm the king of life. I'm the king of business insurance. I'm the king of everything. And I'm just stressed out. And they want me to clean my teeth, right? And I said, I'm too busy to come in. And the woman paused and she says, Troy, tooth decay does not understand busy. We need to come in and give you a teeth cleaning and make sure you don't have a cavity, because if you have a cavity and it's left unchecked, turns into a root canal turns into a crown. Troy, you get the big picture here. Just give us an hour and we'll just make sure you're in good shape and we'll have you on your way. And so I went into the dentist and I noticed the dentists ran their business different than me. They had somebody greeting them at the door, greeting patients on the phone, helping with filing, helping the dentist with patients. But that one person, and man, I'm telling you, it's still the key, having an executive assistant to make sure that the people are coming in to get their teeth cleaned, because a certain percentage of them got a cavity, certain percent of them need a crown or a tooth pulled. You get the idea here. It's just a numbers game, right? And that's where I was screwed up in my 7th year. I just was doing more paperwork than people work, and I couldn't grow. So I went and hired somebody just like the dentist, and I modeled my office after the dentist. And literally, it just changed everything overnight. It just was unbelievable.
I think a lot of agents get caught up in this management of people and personalities and putting out fires. And what you're describing is the perfect set of processes and a system so that you don't need to manage the people, you're managing the processes.
That's exactly right. And I will tell you this, I've met some of the greatest agents, much bigger than me, you know, more revenue, more commission, bigger cars, bigger houses, bigger everything. But you just described it, that right now we've hit this point in the industry again, where everybody's stagnant. They're trying to retool. They can't figure it out. If I could give just one tip and drop the mic and walk away, it would be, no matter how much things have changed technology-wise or business-wise, if you're in front of the right people, under the right conditions, all day long, not once a day, all day long, a certain number of them are going to want more, and they're going to want to stay with you. And you know, I could talk all day about it, but it just literally, it's not me. It's not my sisters who are in the same business. It's the position we create to make sure the chair is full all day long. And the magic happens. This guy last night at dinner in Palo Alto said, that's the magic dust, man. That's the magic dust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so, and I know you've talked to a lot of agents. How do you get them to change that mindset?
So Jim Rohn always used to say, some will and some won't. Don't worry about the ones who won't, worry about the ones who will. And I buy into that, because, you know, this year, I'll talk 100 to 100 groups outside of consulting, outside of just talking to you guys. I'll talk to 100 groups physically and not on video, in person. And it's like 2%, maybe 20, you know, if I'm rocking, maybe. But it's about 2%, because most people go, well, I'm going to see if old Johnny does that. And if it works out, I'm going to do what Johnny does.
Right.
Mary, if Mary does it, I'm going to do that, right? And then all of a sudden you just get faked out because the phone's ringing and Janie, who works for you, calls in sick again for the third time this month, right? And all of a sudden you're off course, man. And you have the best intentions. But I think it's, I've learned some skills in project management, how to run a business, some simple things, because I've got a low threshold, man. I can get nudged off really fast, shiny object, squirrel, whatever you want to call it. I'm the guy that goes off. I got to have something keeping me back on course.
What are some of those simple tips? Sorry,
good question. Here's $1 million tip. And I'm not just saying this, somebody will go, here's $1 million idea. This is $1 million idea. It is called the Law of 72. I start every talk I do with this. And I say, the Law of 72 says, if you get information and you don't take action on it within 72 hours, you are never going to. It's a use it or lose it world. And this is a content world. You guys are doing it, right? You do, right? Great content, better speakers than me, better information, but I'm going to show them how to execute, because ideas are awesome, but without execution, they're delusion, right? So I've been doing this 35 years and everybody goes, how do you keep growing? How do you keep getting better? And I saw you 20 years ago and you're better now, because the Law of 72 says I block time for the things that are important. So I'll block 15 minutes to research you guys before I got online. I know you, okay? But 15 minutes, what's that out of my life, right? Now an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, I don't know you, right? So if I'm gonna meet with a client, I'm going to spend 15 minutes in private thinking about the review I'm going to do with them, thinking about how I'm going to pivot and position them, right? And these are simple things, but if you look at my calendar, it's 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, and I can whip it out. And if I'm going to go to New York in a couple of weeks to do one of these in a live setting, I want to see as many people as I can while I'm in Manhattan, right? So I'll block 15 minutes to reach out to you, 15 minutes. And then project management's the same way, on my board here, right? Reviews, reboot, and I'm blocking time to think about these things. And if a review is important to my agency, then I block time for it for 15 minutes, move it forward to 2 days from now, block 15 more to think about it, block 15 more, create a strategy, create an execution plan, execute, and then inspect what I expect. 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. And now I'm handling a million things. I can deal with a CEO that handles a $30, $40 billion company, or I can deal with a brand new agent that goes, dude, I'm having to park my car around the corner because I don't want him to come, take it. I'm selling everything. I'm selling my house. I'm selling my cars. I'm selling everything. What do? Hey, man, we got 15 minutes. No problem. Let me give you a couple of quick tips. Now, I don't remember what your question was, but I hope that was a heck of an answer. Right?
That's awesome.
Cool.
And I know Craig
somewhere at the beginning, you were referring to people shopping for the answer they want to hear. Why do people do this, right? You gave them the plan, you gave them the execution strategy, and here they are. They have to go ask Jimbo over here, who isn't doing it and not executing, so they can reaffirm to stay complacent.
Fear. Everything boils down to, my manager always used to say, kid, go out on a limb. That's where the fruit is, man. Just go out there. Okay. And it's an old saying, but it's like, okay, why am I afraid, man? I mean, I'm telling you, I've made an idiot out of myself 100 times, right? My brother's a big musician, and I went over the other day, and they're really big. Their band is really famous, and locally, it's a local band. And I go, man, you played that Beatles song the other day, and dude, it was awful. Why did you do that in front of everybody? He goes, because dude, if I don't, I'm never going to get great at it. And I come back a couple weeks later, and now they've mastered Help. And now that's one of their core songs, right? Or Hard Day's Night. And people who don't play don't realize that's hard, right? Yeah. But he has the guts to make an idiot out of himself. And I mean, I'm talking like, I was like, oh, terrible, cringe, right? And that's, most people just don't want to do that. That's why I could have been a better musician, but I was afraid. Now I understand why I wasn't. But in insurance, I never had any fear, because it was like, hey man, I've won so many awards. If you want to laugh at me, laugh at me, right? Right. So I got no fear. Not everybody has that yet, right? But you can build that up. You can build the muscle.
Well, shoot, you go out
to fail.
If you'll go out on stage and botch it, right? Intentionally almost, then it's not going to get any worse.
And they love you for it, man. You know, I'm telling you, when you get on stage and you admit that you're an idiot, if you watch me live, right? And I always tell the stupid stuff I did, right? And people love to hear about me having, this is a true story. My first application, the woman felt so sorry for me, she filled it out because she didn't want to wait for me to try to fill it out. And I call that the pity close, right?
Right.
Yank that out, right?
Yeah.
But people, when you're up in front of people, they go, oh, if that guy can do that, I can do that, right?
Yeah.
So you just gotta, you know, your original premise of the question was, how do you get them to move? You got to meet them where they're at, man. You can't go, I sold $4 trillion to this guy one time. Well, that ain't going to happen, right?
Right.
You know, I go looking for John. I say, where's John? He sold a $4 trillion annuity. I got to be like John. Where's John? They go, he's in jail, Troy. You know, and so I quit trying. I just want to look. It's like golf. And today is like golf. And I'm telling you, this is the greatest time to be in our business ever. But it's the hardest time I've ever seen. It's the greatest time, but the hardest time. So for those who will retool, those who will dig down deep and aren't afraid, the amount of money you can make is unbelievable. But if you're just waiting for things, you know, the cross fingers method, it don't work anymore.
No, it doesn't.
You know, it used to, but it don't anymore. You got to have a strategy.
Yeah.
Can you define for us, why is it the greatest and why is it the hardest from everything that you've seen? I believe 25 years, right?
35 years altogether. 25 years on the road, 35 in the business. Yeah.
Wow. So you've seen trends, like tons of trends. Ups and downs.
Microfiche.
I saw microfiche. That's a good one. I'm going to remember that. Hey, man, I had the first fax machine. I would take the fax over to the mortgage company and it would turn black when I walked out into the sun. I remember what it was like. I remember having the first cell phone, right? And it was in a bag. You know, you remember the bag phone, right?
Yeah.
And my kids would call and say, hey, can we have pizza? I go, talk fast, man. It's $400 a minute, you know? And so I've seen all that. I helped create some CRM for insurance companies when nobody even knew what CRM was, right? Mm-hmm. They knew what it was because they'd heard about ACT or whatever, but they didn't know that you could relate all that to the insurance world. And so why is it the greatest time? Let me just take a pause right here, because people have more. They have more things to protect, right? They used to just have a house and maybe a house and a car. But man, we got all the products, man. It's just unbelievable. So they have more, and it's more confusing because the internet was supposed to speed things up and help us get information. It don't, right? You type in bodily injury and property damage, and you get an ad from all our carrier friends that want to give you a quote over the phone. So you need somebody to hold their hand through the maze of madness. And I could go on because my book discussion partner and my book coming up here in about 3 or 4 months is about that. We've hit an inflection point where today, you know, people aren't going to be quoting like they used to. It's gotten down to 4 segments of customers, and you just got to be a part of the discussion partner one. If you're a discussion partner, you're printing money in the basement, man. And so I think it's the greatest time. It's the most complex because the model changed. And I got brought in a model that you guys got brought in on, which was sell lots of auto and home, and you'll be rich. And we made tons of money. But hey, the profit margin in auto and home just ain't there, but you still got to have auto and home. Mm-hmm. If you don't sell auto and home, you're not going to sell financial services. Auto and home equals business insurance. People buy from people they know and trust. So if you help them with a low margin product like auto or home, and it's very intensive, then you're able to offer the big daddies, and those are the products that make just tons of money, right? So you just got to flip the model upside down, and if you do, then everybody wins. But one last thing, the customer's in control. It's just bottom line. It's not a slogan. I don't care what the companies say. I don't care what the carriers say. The customer's in control, and if you don't give them what they want, bam, you're gone. Toast.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So true. So what, your perspective on that is so, I want to say it's probably the opposite of what you hear a lot from other agents. They would say that the internet has made it, they're priced out. There's so much competition, and you flipped it and said, yeah, it's so confusing now, which
Good.
that is yeah.
It's good. We call it the maze of madness, right?
Yeah.
They just need you. They need you to hold their hand, right? Because it is flipped upside down. And let me tell you. Let me expound on your comment. If we quote 100 autos, and we're an auto producer, and all we do is auto transactions. If that's all we do, you quote 100, you get 20. You might get 14%, you might get 30%, but the target's 20. It's the same with every carrier, right? That means that 80% of the people you talk to, they go away, and you just wasted your time and theirs, because they really wanted a fair deal, good cost. They weren't always looking for the low price. They just wanted to make sure they were getting a fair deal. By quoting them and doing a transaction only, then you're not in the game. The model changed. So that doesn't mean we don't do transactions, because if you come into my office, and I was still a producer, and I was for 35 years, but if I was, I would show you everything. I'm not going to show you auto, because you go, I want an auto quote. Great. But you're going to get a 360 view of what I've got to offer, and I'm going to get a 360 view of you. Because if I don't have that, I can't give you the right limits. I can't give you the right products. I can't tell you when to come in to review. I got to know you. And so that hey, how many cars do you have? Are you a good driver? Are you a drunk and a punk? What's the difference between you and everybody else? But really, I need to know, where'd you go to school, what your kids' names are, how many times were you married, all this stuff that the internet doesn't always tell us, all that kind of stuff, right? Especially like people having babies. We know a year later, but, as agents, we get to know 3 months in or 6 months in. And so we have information the internet can't get. Technology isn't going to replace us. It's going to speed up service. And that's really what it's about. Give the customer the type of service they desire and have every right to expect, and they will give you everything. If you just quote, you're going to get one or two things, maybe three if you're really good, right?
And it's not sticking.
No, exactly. It's not sticking.
So the consumer, they come to us and they expect a commodity, right? They expect a transaction. And what steps do you take in your agency to change that mindset, right? Because they come to us and they've been trained with billions and billions of lizard dollars telling them that, hey, save this money in a short amount of time, right? That's what it's all about. Right. And we have to unwind that.
And it's not just the lizard, man. I got friends over there that have lizard offices, right? They're friends of mine.
Yeah.
And it's not just them. Well, you're correct. They come thinking it's a mindset of transaction. But look, if 100 people come to you, X amount of them don't want just price, all right? I mean, this. The majority of the people are confused and they feel stupid asking. So you say, look, I'm glad you called. That's why we're here. Hey, this will be easy, right? These are all just, they're power phrases that are in the script. We script everything, right? So I got it. You came in, the doorbell rang, the phone rang, however, but you connected with me maybe because you were referred. But if I treat the referral the same way I treat a transaction to give an auto quote, that wasn't good, right? Because they wanted the concierge service that I'm giving to the Johnsons or to the Smiths, So I've got to say, I'm glad you called. That's why we're here. And then I pivot, right? And I say, this will be easy. Most people in your position want us to make sure they're not overcovered or undercovered. You don't want to be overcovered, do you? Automatic yes, right? And I want to make sure that you're getting all the discounts you deserve. So I want to look at everything because you do want the best price and you want all the discounts. Is that correct? And so I just lead them to, and I just say, look, this will be easy. In the same amount of time that most people give you a quote over the phone, I'll ask you some questions, have you come in, and I'll show you how I've been able to help people in situations similar to yours. Now, I know you're busy and I want to work around your schedule. Would you like to come in this week? Or would next week be better for you? Do you want to come in today, or would this afternoon late be better for you? I give them an option, and I just keep whittling it down until I get them to come into the office. And most people want to get it done now, right? So look, I know you're busy. I want to work around your schedule. Do you want to come in this morning? You want to come in this afternoon on your way home from work? I'm available at lunch too, because this is going to be easy. Okay. I got to have everything ready for you. you're going to tell me what you want. Most people want to do business with me because I offer everything. I'm a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I need to take you on the road with me, man. I like that.
It's
Wow,
awesome.
that is awesome.
The power of
It is.
suggestion.
Yeah. Yeah. But look, man, you got to be an honest person. You can't be too salesy, right? Nobody likes us. Ned
No.
Ryerson was funny. You know why he was funny? Because that's how they see us, right? Groundhog Day. I got his auto, his home, his life. You gotta be quick. You gotta be fun. People like to be around people that are fun, and you just gotta make it easy for them because their lives, most people's lives, they're living in desperation, right? They're trying to get through the month. They got trouble with their kids. They got trouble at work, and man, they come into your office, and you're making their life easy. I mean, what more can you ask for? And then you're going to follow up. That's one of my other special sauces. We don't have enough time on this call, but maybe we'll do another one. And it's the concierge service, which is, hey, you came in yesterday and you bought a policy. Want to make sure you were happy with the service you received from Sally, from Tom, and Troy just wants to make sure you're happy. They're like, what? This person cares about me, right? Yeah. And that's called concierge service. So there's systems on top of the systems, but they're all easy and they're all fun, right?
That's awesome. So this is something that you've obviously developed over the last, 28 years since you've, got to your epiphany. But you must hear a lot from other agents asking you a million questions, which probably is what led you to your book. So tell us that process. What led you to your book?
So my first book was called Power Position Your Agency. And I lucked out like most things in my life. I wrote it because I was selling manuals and cassette tapes in the back. And one of my friends comes up, his name's Bob, and he says, dude, I love you. But he goes, you're like a Ginsu knife salesman. Get rid of the shit, And I thought, wow, that was really powerful, man. It hit me between the eyes. So I went back and I found some people and they helped me write this book and put everything, cataloged it. And I sold 150,000 copies, right? And I was the self-publisher. And it was back in a day when you could sell a book, right? Today, I could write, War and Peace, and I wouldn't make 100,000, right? For real. I mean, this is real. Yeah. Unless you're Harry Potter, right? You ain't making any money. And really, Harry Potter was all movies, right? It's just books don't sell, right? It's information. And we got information like this is more valuable to me than a book. But for people like me that read 3 or 4 books a month, I like books, right? So I wrote that book. And it became a bestseller, and that's where I got in with all the carriers. Any carrier you can think about has invited me to either speak or consult, one way or the other. And I mean companies that you haven't even heard of, right? So that opened all those doors. And then I wrote another book, and it did well, not as well as the first one. I wrote another one, but this was another game changer, man. It just went off the rails. And my next book, literally, you're going to be blown away when you see that one, and it's not because I'm smart. It's just because I get to go behind the curtain where the technology is, where the distribution, because I talk about this in Discussion Partner. It's not about being an agent. It's not about technology. It's about a seamless distribution ecosystem. The same way your customers buy from Amazon or Walmart or whoever else, Home Depot, they want the same experience in insurance, right? And so right now you got a little bit of it. We talked about this last night in Palo Alto, and you got it, but you can feel when you leave, right? I leave your office and your insurance office. I can feel that I went into an ecosystem that wasn't the same. One day, soon, I call it open platform product solution. It's this 360, complete, seamless. And the carriers who get it, and they're trying, when they get it, you're just going to go, man, this is cool. Anytime, anywhere, anyhow. They call it the omni-channel in retail, right? But, we're going to be doing the same stuff. And then you got to put your ego out of it and just go look at, I'm not everything. I'm an advisor. And that's where I get paid. I get paid to advise, not sell.
It's amazing. Awesome. You created your experience, right? You by hustling and grinding. You have the experience. You write the book to tell about it. The book leads to you being positioned as an expert, right? So everybody wants you, right? And now the keys to the kingdom, right? And I think every every agent has the potential to differentiate themselves in some way with this kind of expertise. Selfishly, we created this podcast to be able to talk to people like you and people like Garrett White and we've had people on our show, just like you, that it's over our head. But how did we get there? Because we started with some folks that were awesome, and it led to the next one and the next one and the next one. And all of a sudden, here you are. And then people are coming to us.
Right.
It's just two dudes with some insurance agencies, right?
That are fun and have great information that's executable. That's the key, man. I get it. Yeah. I'd love to have my own podcast because you do get that information and you go, look at, man, there are no new antiques, as the old saying goes, but I'm going to take this, right? And I'm going to apply it and I'm going to make it work with my style, right? Because look, you can take my info and somebody that talks about this slow, they're going to be successful, man. I would be in front of them as a client going, giddy up, hurry, right? Because I'm a fast talker. But not everybody wants to do business with me. I scare people, man. I'm telling you, you sit in the front row in one of my deals and you're like, at break, you're in the back because I'm in your face, right? And I was the same way selling insurance, right? I just told them, here's the facts, man. You make the decision. And some people like that and some people don't. It's okay. There's 300 million people in America.
Yeah.
Why are we worried about somebody going, oh, I didn't want your price?
Right.
What? Move on, man.
Move on. Yeah. It's amazing, opportunity. And you are right. In this time with the internet, the access that you can get to everybody, right? Yeah. You potentially can talk to everybody as long as you have the right message.
Right. And look at, man, can you imagine this? I might not have seen you dudes for 2 years or 3 years. It's like we're in the same room. This is like magic. I talk about it in Discussion Partner, holograms. I talk about it. They're coming, right? And people in the audience always go, oh, that'll never happen. I go, dude, Tupac, man.
They did
Coachella. It's like, it's going to happen. I'm going to go, the TCPA is going to be changed to this. Is it okay for me to come into your front room?
Right.
Okay. Right. Or can I come into your business? It is pretty awesome.
Like we have Star Wars is going to happen.
It is.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And what I love your optimism in this. And I think a lot of agents need to hear this because I think everyone's so scared. Like it's such a scared industry right now.
Of course.
But your optimism, and you've seen behind the curtain and you continue to have that optimism.
Yeah. And so, I'm going to tell you, most carriers that I work with, get it. There's only a few that don't. I scratch my head and I walk out and I just go, you're talking the talk, but you just ain't doing it, And so I'm excited, not because I'm seeing the future, but when I first wrote this book, it's simple. It's easy to read. You read it quick, right? Some of the carriers go, you can't say that. I said, yeah, well, now they're all saying it, right? It's like, and my next book is even freakier. And they're going to go, hey, you can't say that. But 6 months later, they'll be saying it because it's just, look, man, you can't stop it. It's like I talk about in the new book about Walmart. Everybody was afraid of Walmart. The big juggernaut's going to take everything. And they took a lot. But for the people that retooled their business model, they're still selling refrigerators and fixing washers and dryers and all the things everybody was afraid of. The others are gone because they went, hey, I'll just, this ain't going to work out, right? Then along comes Amazon, and now they changed the model. And it ain't price. It's customer service, man.
Right.
It's just all about the customer. You give them what they want, and they don't ask questions about, what the price is. They want the best deal.
Right. Who cares? I can get that thing tomorrow.
Right.
I don't care what it costs. And it's free shipping. Yeah. I already believe that that it doesn't cost me anything to get it. Right. So I'll buy it. Yeah. Right. I don't have to drive down to the store. And man, look at the other day, I own the building here, even though I'm not a producer. There's 22 people working in here in insurance, right? And we needed a new toilet seat. So I said to Emily, I said, hey man, go on to Amazon. Don't go on to Amazon. Go to Home Depot. I like those guys, man. And she ordered it. It was just as easy as Amazon. It's like, I don't have to do everything through Amazon, so I look for ways for certain things that I want, and it makes my life convenient. And you know what? The beauty is if the toilet seat don't fit, I just
I drive on my way home and I drop it off and they go click, click, and I got my credit. I don't even go to the post office. It's just done. You know,
Yeah.
it's easy.
Coming up with
Yeah.
ways to solve people's problems and make it easier,
Right.
which ties into what you said. Hey, this is going to be easy.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and Amazon makes it easy. Now you can go to Whole Foods to drop off your thing to return it. I mean,
Kohl's too. I put it in the book and my editor goes, man, you don't want to put that in the book. What if that don't work out? And I said, well, just I'm putting in there that Kohl's does
Yeah.
returns. We don't know if it's going to work out, but it's brilliant, right? Because Kohl's for me is literally 2 blocks away, right? 3 blocks. So I can return something for Amazon and go in and get some cheap underwear and socks, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
so it's brilliant. You know, I think it'll work, but if it doesn't, they're trying to change their model going, okay, how can we get bodies in the store? How can we get people in the chair under the right conditions and insurance? What's the way to do that? Having coffee. I live where it's 110 degrees, having Pepsis, you know, making everybody feel comfortable when they come in.
Well, look at how the supermarket designed the store where it's the eggs on one side, the whatever, the produce
milk in the back, milk in the back. Yeah.
So you have to go through it. So they're designing the world in the same way. I mean, it's remarkable.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Genius.
That's a great example. Milk and eggs in the back, because you're going to go buy the potato chips and the pop on the way, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like when you going back to what you said earlier about with Amazon, they went on that branch. They've fallen off the tree. They've tried so many different things that's failed to get where they are.
Yeah.
And that's the only way that we know that, or that they know that what works, you know, where the other companies, you know, some like Sears is gone.
Yeah, or Montgomery Wards. Yeah, great example.
And Bezos, when Bezos was sitting in his garage, and I know you've seen the picture, right,
Yeah.
with the Amazon drawn on the wall, like there was no way any of this would happen, that there would be drones delivering packages, and here you are.
Yeah.
Right? It's vision and then sticking with it and not being afraid to fail.
Exactly. The same thing with other businesses. It's just really, they believe in their heart so much. And I do too, man. I really believe that people need an advisor more today than they ever have. But unless you're an advisor that believes that, people aren't going to be attracted to you, right? The philosopher used to say, he says, you attract what you are. And, you know, so if you don't believe that people need an advisor, you're not going to attract people that need an advisor, you know? So that's why I always bought all my products, every product from the company I'm representing. If I'm an independent agent, the companies I represent, I would never go buy another product that I didn't represent, because I got to believe in it, and people can feel it. You don't need to say it. You know, I'd sell tons of life insurance in my day. I learned from a guy named Gary Kinder. You ever hear of this guy? He was one of the greats. I mean, like, there'll never be legends like these guys, right? They started the industry. And I used to travel with him when I first started speaking. He'd bring his life policy with him and he'd lay it down. He goes, look at the cash value in that, you know? And one day he pointed out the cash value. I'd never seen that much money, man. And it's cash value. And I'm like going, all right, man, I can believe in this, you know, because seeing is believing.
Well,
awesome.
let's pivot for a second, because I think that the same stuff applies to culture and the organization, right? Because you create the vision, you want this place to, you want all of your staff and team to be rowing with your vision. And a lot of times, and we hear it constantly, and I know you hear it from agents, I can't get them to do anything, and they're all rowing in the opposite direction. And how important it is to foster and develop that culture, right? Because if you don't, I mean, how have you done that? How have you done that over the years?
So, and this is something I can give to you, man. I mean, I got these little one-sheeters or whatever, and you just say, I want that, right? And it's staffing, right? Team building is probably one of the biggest things I get hired for, because they'll go, we want you to talk about technology. We want you to talk about 360 view. We want you to talk about discussion partner, but man, you better be ready to talk about staffing, teaming, right? Because you got to have expertise partners either working for you or with you, so you offer everything, right? That's the future. You can't refer somebody out the way you used to and go, hey, if you need aircraft insurance, go call Mary Smith. Mary's great at aircraft. And then go, hey, I hope they got together. Because they go over to somebody else and the other person goes, hey, I'll take your autos, your home, your life, because I helped you with your aircraft. They're an idiot. They're a loser. And so I've got to have a partner to help me with equine insurance, with nuclear bomb factories, everything. I got to have it all, right?
Yeah.
So I work on that. So the premise of your question starts at the core. It's a philosophy that says slow to hire and quick to fire. That means that you don't just put somebody on to put them on. Because look, man, I started hiring people after I hired my agency contact representative. And I talk about it in Power Position Your Agency. It's still one of the major key positions that I recommend, having a dedicated person to keep your chair full. Because no matter what happens, you got to be in front of people doing reviews and then offering more product to new customers and existing customers. With that system set in place, I started hiring other people. But did everybody I hire work out? And the answer is no, because I hired some freaks, man. I mean, I'm telling you, they would come in and they go, I like your office. I go, I like it too. They go, I like your computer. I go, it's an IBM. Touch it, man. Touch that computer. And they would go, hey, I think I could do well here. And I go, me too. Don't even go home and take a shower. Just sit down. You're hired. And this is going to be awesome. And then a week later, they're stalking me at night. And so they're a freak and I got to get rid of them. Slow to hire, right? And that's at least 3 to 4 interviews before you hire them, minimum. Even though you think they're awesome, you got to have a process, a system. And so you do it, and then you give them a test, and then you hire them. And even with that, a small percentage of them don't work out. Yeah. And what do? Do you wait a month? Do you wait 5 months? Do you wait 5 years? No, because the worst thing, my friend said, Troy, man, I hired the wrong person. And the worst thing that ever happened to me was they liked it there and they stayed, and I can't have that, right? So we're not mean. We actually are friends with people that we've let go. We help them get other jobs that fit their position, but everybody needs to be a profit center. And if they're not a profit center, they're a cost center. And if they're a cost center, we can't afford them then, and we can't afford them now. Even though there's millions of dollars coming in the door, we can't afford to have somebody on the payroll that doesn't bring a profit.
Absolutely.
True. And it just creates that culture. And then at some point it multiplies and then you really can't pay for them.
Yeah. Agree.
So Troy, what are some tips that you give a newer agent coming into the industry? You have so much experience. Where should they hang their thoughts and put their energy?
So there's no glass ceiling. Okay. When I got to my first $1 million in commission and sales, nobody called me up from the carrier and said, hey, you got to slow down. We can't keep up. They didn't even call, right? It's just like, keep going, right? So there's no glass ceiling. With that being said is we all got the same time clock, right? So you got to figure out what to do at the time. The philosopher always said, don't try to get through the day, try to get from the day. And so the new person needs to be in front of people under the right conditions. And I have a program called the Introduction Program. It'll work in Little Rock, Arkansas. It'll work in Vancouver in Canada, right? Or in Toronto. It doesn't matter where you are. If you meet 4 new families or businesses every day, I can mathematically show you how you can turn those introductions into prospects, the prospect using technology into a relationship that bonds from the get-go, and we multi-line now today on the first appointment. Because if we don't multi-line on the first appointment, then the odds are 80% we never will. And I can prove that to you mathematically. Wow. Even if you're a $40 billion company, I can show you where you're daydreaming if you think you're going to cross-sell your way out of this thing. You got to retool. If I'm a carrier, I've got to retool. If I'm an agent, brand new, I got to retool and not listen to Troy 30 years ago. I had to listen to Troy today because it's changed. The model's different. I said, auto and home. I was printing money in the basement. I can't print money in the basement on auto and home, but I got to have it because it's part of the whole big seamless ecosystem. The customer wants one place to go. They don't want to go. They don't have 5 CPAs. They don't have 5 lawyers. They don't have 5 dentists. Now, my doctor, his name is Tommy, Dr. Tommy, I had a hernia a couple years ago, right? He didn't go, hey, man, lay down. Let's get this thing taken care of. He had an expertise partner, and they walked me over to that person. They didn't say, here's a phone number. They walked me over, and it was a couple blocks away, but introduced me, got me all set up. And when I got the results, guess who I wanted to talk to? Not the surgeon. I want to talk to Dr. Tommy. Were you satisfied with the way everything was? He's not a surgeon. You get it? So it's like, you need aircraft coverage. I'm never going to know enough about aircraft coverage, but I got people in my Rolodex that are expertise partners. And sometimes I might make a commission. I disclose it. Sometimes I might not, and I disclose that too. And I go, like, I just want you to know, I didn't make any money off of this. You're probably wondering why. It's because I want you to come to me for everything. I'm your gateway to everything insurance and financial services, even the things I don't make money on. I'm your gateway, man.
You set the expectations.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally. Total expectation. Yeah.
I love that. And then you really are the trusted advisor at that point.
Boom.
Love it.
The magic dust, man. Yeah.
Everybody wants to know. I mean, obviously, I always ask this question.
Sure.
Where can we get your books? Amazon, right?
No. So here's the thing. I subscribe to the old saying, giving starts a receiving process. For all your listeners that truly want a copy of Discussion Partner, all they do is just email me right now, troy@korsgaden.com. And all you got to do is pay for the shipping and handling. I think it's like $3 or $4. The book is free for your listeners, but they got to say, I'm on with the guys and I heard about your book. And then that way your folks, they get it. And, sometimes if we're busy, we don't even send them the bill for the shipping. I'm just going to be honest with you. If we got time, but here's the thing, you mentioned it earlier. One of you did. It just starts a process, right? So you go, why would you give away this book when you can get $20 for it or $14 or whatever they charge for it on Amazon? I said, well, look man, because when I come to speak, I'm getting a lot more than $14, right? So all it does is just like constantly, you don't see me advertise. It's just that every time they're going to have 3,000 people get together or 300 or 30 the other day in Florida, under 30 people, they pay me my fee. And so, yeah, giving starts the receiving process.
Yep.
So for everybody out there that wants the book, all you got to do is just say, hey, I heard you on the show, and would you please forward that to me and include your address. Make Emily's life easy. We don't want her hunting you down going, hey, I wonder I can look you up on the internet, right?
Troy, that is an amazing deal.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Troy.
That's pretty gutsy with your crowd, man, because I'll be getting a lot of emails, I guarantee.
You may get a lot of emails.
I know I will. Yeah.
We'll put the link down below in the show notes.
Cool.
Any other ways that they can find you? I know we did go to your website and saw some really captivating pictures of you looking up.
Yeah.
Very fired up. Look, that's great.
Yeah. Thanks. So the website's getting reskinned. It'll be a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, but it doesn't matter. They can go to the old website. It's korsgaden.com, KORSGADEN.com. If you email me, and I'm on the road about 100 to 150 days a year. Love to talk to people, only 15 minutes or less. And if you're cool and you're not worried about me going, I'm jumping on a plane, if you're cool with it, I will answer anything, both personally and professionally, because I've had a really interesting life. My life hasn't been perfect, right? I could have written 21 books on the stupid things that I've done. Right? And I tell them, right? I mean, I've really done some stupid personal stuff, done some personal business stuff that wasn't that smart, but I put the good stuff in the books, and there's going to be new video. You were on there. You saw those pictures of me. That day, I actually videoed 100 sessions, 100 clips of training, kind of the stuff we're talking about now. Yeah. You guys brought it out of me. I'd rather do it like this, right? But it's just always something new that's coming on. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's
great. And your new book is going to be out in what?
I'm guessing 2 months. It's done. I got it last night before I left, and I'm going to change a few things in it. And then this one is still selling. Discussion Partner's still selling so big. I don't want to cannibalize it completely. Now,
right.
This is still going to be really relevant for not only your new people, but for your folks that are listening that have been in the business. Hey, I know for a fact you guys have carriers that listen to you, technology companies that listen to you. And, for me, it's like this book is the precursor to the future. Inflection Point, and that's pretty much going to be the name I'm imagining. That one will be, okay, man, here it is, pow, and it's like no more, conditioning. We're here, and you either jump on or get out. I mean, it's just like, if you want to get on the train, this is going where we want it to go. Otherwise, you can get off, take a little rest, and you're still going to make money. I still think people are going to make money, but if you want to make, the reason people get into the business, last thing, to make more money, have more fun, and have less stress in their life because they can control it. Those three things. And if you want all three of those things, they're all available to you today. But you got to have a plan, and you got to have an execution strategy to get to where you want to go.
Well, let's calm everybody's nerves, and then we'll do the mic drop. The agency owner will be around.
Without a doubt. Look at, man, I don't got to say that.
Everybody take a big breath now.
Oh, no. I think the agent's more important today than they've ever been in the new model. If you want to play in the old model, you're not going to be as relevant. You're going to be relevant. Let's face it. I talked about those 4 segments. We don't have time to get into them. But in segment number 2, you're going to be relevant even if you keep doing the business the way I did 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Sure.
But if you want to pivot and you want to change and move to a discussion partner model, then there's just no glass ceiling on how much we can make. It's just lead guitar, movie star. It's everything you could want.
That's awesome. Troy.
That's awesome. Yes.
Pleasure. So
Troy,
incredible. So grateful that you could come on.
I want to commend you too for spreading such a message out to everybody, because I know it takes a lot of time to be able to connect with other agents. And I think that we need, in our industry as a whole, we need more optimism and more people leading that, and you're obviously doing that. So,
well, so likewise, let me turn it around. You have a vehicle that I don't envy in a bad way. I'm in awe, because you have a vehicle that fulfills that, right? It's the execution strategy, because I can be as fun and you can be as fun as you want, but this vehicle helps people to embed this in their daily life. So it's awesome. I'm glad to be a part of it today. Thanks.
Oh, thanks
so much, Troy.
Appreciate it. Awesome. Well, we'll see you the next time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Troy.
Thanks.
Jason, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up one of our sponsors, EverQuote.
Oh, tell me a little bit about them.
Well, I've been using them for a couple months, and I'll tell you that the results are delightful. It's been now a couple months, and over time, my cost per sale has dropped every single week.
That is awesome. Tell me, so you're on a specific program with them?
Yeah, it's called the Accelerated Growth Program, and this bad boy gets you a better deal on those leads, so way less expensive, and you get a consultant that's going to actually go over your results to make sure you're tracking properly.
And so you've been doing that for the last couple of months and consulting with them?
Yeah, and I see everybody complain about leads and this and that, and it's like, look, if you don't have a process to track and measure your results, then I can totally get it. You don't even know what your results are, right?
And you asked them to give all the insurance dudes and dudettes out there a killer deal on this, and they came through, didn't they?
They came through, and I know you're going to take advantage of it, but if they go to go.everquote.com/insurance dudes, that's go.everquote.com/insurance dudes, then guess what?
What?
Deal City.
I'm there.
Do it.
Hey, you've got to check out the Insurance Dudes Inner Circle coming soon, where you get extended interviews as well as live coffee talks in our private Facebook group. Join the mailing list today at theinsurancedudespodcast.com. Hey, thanks for checking out the Insurance Dudes. Hey, please subscribe. We got some really great stuff coming out.